You mentioned love and infatuation. Let's talk about that, because I think somewhere you wrote that if you love someone and then they go away and you miss them, that's not love, that's infatuation.
I've developed since 1984. I've taken 3,598 people through the grief process now. We just did a study at Keio University in Japan on it. We got a 100% track record on it. And it's amazing, because I found out that people don't grieve the loss of someone who's loved. As much as that's so commonly thought, that's just standard thinking process. You only grieve the loss of the things that you infatuate in the individual. And I've proven that so many thousands of times. My students and I've taught 6,000 people to do the same thing, and they're using it and they've seen the same thing. We'll use this recent thing with Trump, right? Trump goes out and he gets his team over there and they knock out this Iranian general, right?
Yeah.
Now, over on the American side, they're celebrating because they got rid of the villain. Over on the Iran side, they're celebrating, or they're not celebrating, they're mourning the hero that's now down. So here's an individual that's a hero and a villain, and two different groups seeing them differently. A million people come out to say thank you for this one, and a million people come out and go, yes, good on you. And so here's two poles of the thing with support and challenge around one individual. So if all of a sudden you're infatuated with the individual, like in there, they're mourning their loss. If you resent the person, you celebrate the loss. But if you actually love the person, neither of those are there. There's just the presence of the individual. So what I do is I ask people, okay, go to the moment where and when you discovered this individual has just departed and they've now is deceased. Okay, there? Okay, what specific trait, action or inaction, do you perceive this individual displaying or demonstrating that you admire most and now missed most? Because they never missed the things they despised.
Right.
They never go, oh, I miss his yelling. I miss his this. They never grieve any of those. On the grief list, I guarantee you'll never see those.
I'm thinking about Kobe Bryant as well, because a lot of people mourned his loss. So say people are thinking about this right now, and they would think, oh, is his resilience,
all the things they admire.
Yeah, all the things they admire, yeah.
Yeah, if they actually got to know him, both sides, the parts they didn't like, they not missed that, but they don't know him. They only know the stuff that's in the media, right, the positive side.
Correct.
So what happens is, if you go in there and identify what that trait is, and make a list of everything that they think they're missing, I can prove to you and show to you that the only thing they list are the things that they admired, that stimulated support of their own value structure, that released dopamine, oxytocin, enkephalons, endorphins, vasopressin, serotonin, and estrogen. Those compounds go up, particularly oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine. They go up when their values are supported. And so the second you have withdrawal, you have the same withdrawal symptoms of drug release. Same exact symptoms. Because you're now infatuated with that person and fear the loss of that. We only fear the loss of that which we seek and infatuate with, and we only fear the gain of that which we resent. But we never fear the loss of that which we resent, and we never fear the gain of that which we seek. So that distress is nothing more than the perception of loss of that which we seek and the perception of gain of that which we're trying to avoid. That's the only two forms of stress we'll ever have in our life.
Ever.
Right. Everything boils down to those two things. So the second I identify what that thing that they've lost, the things they infatuate with, I then ask a question after I've listed it, and his average on death is 10 things. That's the average. The most I've seen is 26, the least I've seen is 4. It's 10 things that they're infatuated with. There's not everything about them, it's just that. But they claim at first, oh, I miss everything about them. No, you missed those 10 things. Right. And then we go in there and such. So the moment that individual passed, who emerged around you, one or many, male or female, close or distant, virtual or real, who emerged around you with those traits? And to their mind is blown. They realize that they or others pick up those traits and started showing those behaviors around them, as if there's some sort of conservation of energy and information, a unitarity principle. And then they go, whoa. And I make them do it until it's quantitatively equal to what the individual was. And I can do that, and I do it every single week.
Does it take time from the death to where it happens?
No. It's happening right there. This is a 2-hour process max.
Okay. But I mean, from when the person died to when
doesn't matter.
was
They could have a fresh death right there on that day, or they could have it 10 years earlier. Doesn't matter. And time is irrelevant.
Okay. And you're asking in the last hour that you found out they died,
I had people have deaths in the program. Their father committed suicide. A lady was on my seminar and was on the telephone. Her dad committed suicide right there. We did it right then. We brought her right up there on the front and did it right then. Doesn't matter.
And you said who
in this room is now merging those behaviors. And what was interesting, that particular case, her father committed suicide. The man she picked for a surrogate role at the end, because I do a surrogate role, was a gentleman that worked and flew for Continental Airlines and got laid off 3 days earlier. And had told his wife that morning, I'm a pilot, I'm old, I won't be able to get a job. If I can't fly, I don't know who I am, and wanted to commit suicide. And she picked him out of the room. And that was exactly what he needed to hear, that dialogue, to keep him alive. 22 more years he lived. And that was the synchronicity of the room. So it shows up immediately. Once I identify the actual new form quantitatively, we then go and find out what's the downside of the original behavior. Because if you're infatuated, you're conscious of the upsides, but you're unconscious of the downsides. They're there, but you're not looking.
Right.
You're blind. Just like if you go out on a date and you're really infatuated with a girl, there's downsides, and your intuition is trying to whisper them to you, but you're blind. You're impulsive, and you're letting your animal nature go for that passion, right? And then you discover the fatal attraction, like Michael Douglas. And then you find out, oh my God, she's a psycho.
Right.
She's crazy.
So the person that just died, you have to list the downsides.
Then you get the downsides of the traits that they're infatuated with until it's balanced.